beginning. I didn't mean to invite her. That's the part everyone laughs at when I tell the story now. How I accidentally asked the most dangerous being in 3 sectors to dance like she was just another lonely traveler passing through a neutral station. But at the time, nothing about her screamed queen, let alone vampire. The Meridian Spire was a floating city built inside the hollowed shell of a dead planet, its interior lit by artificial stars and rotating habitats. Every species with credits and curiosity passed through it eventually. Humans like me were still a novelty, tolerated, watched, underestimated. I was there as a cultural liaison. Officially. Unofficially, I was a bored former fleet officer trying to forget a war that humanity barely survived. The ballroom level was hosting a convergence gala, music adapted to a dozen biologies, gravity tuned low enough to feel like a dream. I stood near the edge, drink in hand, watching beings who could tear me apart without effort glide across the floor. That's when I saw her. She wore a simple obsidian gown, unadorned, almost plain by galactic standards. Her skin was pale, but not sickly. Her eyes were dark, reflective, like still water under moonlight. No visible implants. No royal insignia. No guards. She looked alone. I don't know what possessed me. Maybe it was the music. Maybe it was the way she watched others dance with an expression that wasn't longing, but curiosity, like she was studying joy from a distance. I stepped forward before my courage could evaporate. "Would you like to dance?" I asked. The room didn't go silent, but something shifted. I felt it before I saw it. Heads turning, movements slowing. A few beings froze entirely. She turned to face me. Up close, there was something wrong about her presence. Not hostile, just heavy, like gravity bent slightly toward her. "Are you certain?" she asked softly. I smiled, the stupid human smile that had gotten me into trouble more times than I could count. Absolutely. For a heartbeat, she studied me like a scientist examining an unexpected variable. Then she placed her hand in mine. Middle. The moment we touched, I felt the cold. Not unpleasant, just startling. Her fingers were cool, unnaturally so, yet her grip was gentle. The music shifted, accommodating our movement, and we stepped onto the dance floor. Around us, space opened. No one wanted to be close. "You're not afraid," she observed. "I am," I said honestly. "Just not enough to walk away." That earned a faint smile. She moved with impossible grace, anticipating my steps before I made them. It felt less like leading or following, and more like orbiting each other. "My name is Alara," she said. I gave mine in return. As we danced, the temperature around us dropped slightly. I noticed it in the fog of my breath. Her eyes caught the light at odd angles, reflecting crimson for just a fraction of a second. "You're not from any delegation I recognize," I said. "I rarely attend gatherings as myself," she replied. Something in her tone made my chest tighten. Halfway through the dance, I felt it, a sharp pull at the base of my skull. A pressure behind my eyes. Instinct screamed danger. "You're doing something," I muttered. Her expression flickered with surprise. "You can feel that?" "I can feel you," I said. "And whatever you're trying to do." She stopped moving. The music continued around us, but our small pocket of space felt frozen. "I am reading your surface thoughts," she admitted. "It should not be possible for you to notice." "Well," I said, "humans are full of disappointments." For the first time, she laughed. It was soft, musical, and terrifying. The pressure vanished. "I could drain you dry before you hit the floor," she said calmly. "Do you know that?" "I figured," I replied. "You haven't. That tells me something." "What does it tell you?" "That you're lonely." That was the wrong thing to say. Her eyes flared red, no longer a trick of the light. The temperature dropped sharply. I felt a wave of ancient power roll off her like a storm front. Every being nearby bowed instinctively. Some fled. Others collapsed. "I am Queen Alara Vaith," she said, her voice echoing with layered harmonics. "Sovereign of the Nocturian Dominion. Last of the true blood courts."
Ah.
So, that's why no one wanted to dance with her. She stared at me, waiting for fear. For begging. For the familiar taste of terror that defined her reign. Instead, I tightened my grip, just slightly. "You still owe me the rest of the dance," I said. Silence. Then astonishment. "You are either incredibly brave," she said slowly, "or profoundly foolish. Those aren't mutually exclusive." Something ancient shifted in her gaze. We finished the dance. Afterward, instead of guards seizing me or fangs sinking into my throat, she asked me to walk with her. We spoke for hours. She told me of her people, being sustained by life force, not blood alone, cursed to rule through fear because reverence had failed them long ago. She spoke of endless nights, of subjects who obeyed but never chose. I told her about humanity, about stubborn survival, about how we kept dancing even when extinction loomed. "You invited me as an equal," she said quietly. "No one has done that in centuries." "I didn't know who you were," I admitted. "That is why it mattered." Ending, main story conclusion. The attack came without warning. Assassins, hybrids armed with null-field blades, breached the promenade. Their target was clear. Killing a vampire queen would fracture an empire. I moved before I thought. When the first blade struck, it hit my shoulder instead of her heart. Pain exploded through me. I fell, but she screamed. The sound shattered glass across 3 levels. Time seemed to slow as she caught me, lowering me to the floor. Her hands hovered over the wound, trembling. "Why?" she demanded. "You are not bound to me. You owe me nothing." I looked up at her, blood soaking my sleeve. "Someone once invited me to dance," I said. "Changed my life. Seemed fair to return the favor." Her control broke. Power flooded the hall. Ancient, terrifying, magnificent. The assassins never stood a chance. When it was over, nothing remained of them but ash and scorched metal. She healed me with her own essence, a forbidden act among her kind. I felt warmth spread through my veins, something old and strong knitting me back together. When I awoke later, I was in her private chamber. She sat beside me, crown discarded, eyes no longer glowing. "You should leave," she said. "My court will not accept what I have done." "What have you done?" I asked. She took my hand. "I chose," she whispered. "For the first time in centuries, I chose." Outside, her empire waited. Inside, a queen sat with a human who had seen her not as a monster, but as a woman standing alone at the edge of a dance floor. And this time, when she asked me to stay, I didn't hesitate. Ending/epilogue. Years later, historians would argue over the moment the Nocturian Dominion truly changed. Some claimed it was the night the VampireQueen spared a human city during the border wars. Others pointed to the abolition of life tides, replaced by consensual bonds. But I knew the truth. It began with a dance. Alara ruled differently after that night. Fear was no longer the currency of loyalty. Choice was. Her people resisted at first, terrified of weakness, but discovered something unexpected. Hope lasted longer than fear ever had. As for me, I became something unheard of, a human consort to a vampire queen. Not a thrall, not a pet. A voice at her side when ancient instincts whispered of domination instead of trust. Sometimes we still dance. In the same chamber. To the same music. And every time she takes my hand, Her grip is warm now, no longer cold. Because even immortal queens can change when someone brave enough asks them to dance.